Hello everyone, we're back and welcome to the ARL F1 2013 pre-season race for the F1 League. We're going around the Silverstone circuit today. It's not Catalonia like last season, we're going around our home British track. The Season 6 podium was as follows, with MoNsTeR taking it from Big Shot player in second and Randy in third. And Big Shot took pole position around Catalonia last season, just showing that he had some pace but he couldn't convert it into some good results. So, I'm Matthew Gallagher, and joining me once again in the commentary box is Scott Woodwith.
Thank you very much, Matty. Hello everybody, it's fantastic to be back once again, and of course this is going to be an awesome season. We've of course got 19 races with the 16 fastest drivers in ARL's Premier F1 2013 League, and after last year it was domination from Toro Rosso, Noble and Matty. Could it be the same again? I'm not sure, but with brand new rules, brand new teams and drivers, and also the fact that we've got some brand new elements such as the physics and the weather, this is going to be an awesome season. I can feel it in my bones, Matty.
It's going to be really interesting with the added strategy element of tyre scaling. You've got people in different teams, and also you've got the element of dynamic weather as well, so that could throw a few spanners in the works. There's no qualifying comparison for the pre-season race. It will be back for the full Season 7 championship, but for now let's head over to the qualifying report.
So let's take a look at the first qualifying results of F1 2013, and it also gives us a chance to look at the runners and riders for Season 7. There's no surprise on the front row as Noble and Matty once again lock out, but this time they've moved to Williams from Toro Rosso, and their front row is separated by just 15 thousandths of a second. Randy McScranny continues his great form from the end of last season and remains at McLaren in third, while TRL MoNsTeR takes the vacant Toro Rosso seat and lines up fourth. Row 3 sees TRL Qualy in the first of the new boys in the Mercedes, alongside Ryan 83, who's moved to Ferrari from Marussia after Marussia and Lotus were banned from the league for having an unfair straight line advantage online. Row 4 sees the Red Bulls come in, with Fisi teaming up with Trace 92, whilst Row 5 sees the second new boy, Jason 97 F1 in the Force India, alongside Big Shot, Ryan's teammate in the Ferrari. HyperX Callum lines up on row 6, again in the Force India, with the Commentated, the Italian driver, in the Sauber on row 6. And the third new guy, TRL Schumacher in the second Mercedes P13, with Maisie CZ in the Sauber in 14th, and F1 X360 in the second Toro Rosso in 15th. Schumacher and Maisie and Crookie did not set times, and the only man not to turn up was the rapid Irishman Ricky C. He lines up in the second McLaren alongside Randy, and he'll be a factor in this season championship for sure. There's the grid for the pre-season race, and now let's head out onto the track for our first action on ARL in F1 2013.
It's race time for the pre-season race for Season 7. It's xMattyG and RapidScorpion commentating for you today, and the weather is overcast. We've got dynamic weather for this game, so it should provide some exciting action, Scott, here at Silverstone.
34% chance of rain. Could things make things a little bit more interesting? But this is fantastic. The moment we've all been waiting for, the pre-season race to determine who is on form for Season 7. We're getting ready for those lights. I can't wait. Everyone's pumped. Let's get this Season 7 started, Matty.
Let's do it indeed. 4 lights already. We've now got 5. And we are racing here at Silverstone on board with TRL MoNsTeR, putting it up into rich. In fact, you could turn the engine up into rich before going off the line on this game. But anyways, put it back down into standard now, coming through turn 1, following through with Randy and Matty. And now Trace down in 7th place. Looks like, who's that? TRL Macaulay going slightly up the inside on the grass, and Trace now looking up the inside but going very slowly there through turns 3, and now Ryan in the Ferrari just about managing to avoid contact, and now MoNsTeR going up the inside of Randy in the McLaren. Slight corner cut there, but he really had nowhere to go. Is MoNsTeR going to make the move stick down into sector 2, Scott?
Down the Wellington straight in towards Brooklands for the first time, and there's Randy trying to go round the outside as MoNsTeR now getting used to that Toro Rosso instead of his Sauber from last year, but Randy's retained the place. But no surprise to see Noble and Matty up the front. This is Trace now following his teammate Fisi now in the Red Bulls this time, the first time we saw them from last year, but now on board with Matty. These two are probably going to be the form guys again, this time not the Toro Rosso, but this time the Williams, but it's proof that they are quick enough no matter what car they're going, Matty.
Yeah, those two are locking out the front row. It's really close between them, so it's going to be interesting to see if Noble can dominate Season 7 just like he did in Season 6. Fizzy looking up the inside potentially of Macaulay, but Macaulay just about managing to get back in front. Very close racing here, so the new boys, especially Macaulay, looking reasonably fast considering he's come up from the lower divisions. And we've now moved back to Matty in the Williams, looking right behind his teammate Noble. So Noble not streaking away doing a Vettel-esque thing just yet, with Randy quite close behind. And we now have a replay of the start on board with Matty in the Williams, getting a reasonable launch compared to Noble, probably about similar for the teams. And Randy getting a brilliant start using some of his curves, looking around the outside of Matty, but just about can't there. And slight contact there but on Matty's left rear wheel. And now on board with Trey Scott.
Yeah, the Red Bull's getting a decent start into Rich Mix 3 and they had a pretty level launch. Ryan managed to maintain P6, getting used to the Ferrari. And there goes Tracy straight up the inside of Fisi as well. And this is now later on around the first sector. And there was a bit more contact from behind. And I think it might be near the big shot. Schumacher was in there as well, and also Jason 97. So a bit of argy-bargy, but thankfully everyone got to the first corner cleanly. And look at the sparks flying from the rear of Matty's car. Just show this is a brand new effect for F1 2013. They've improved that so that the cars, if they're running pretty much on 1-1 ride height, those cars will be sparking on the ground. It's like we're in the 90s again, Matty.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense, really, because they did the same in Season 6, but there was no sparks there. But yeah, 1-1 ride height for pretty much every single driver in this league, I'm pretty sure. As Fisi now looking up the inside of TRL McCauley. McCauley having a slightly better straight line speed down Wellington Straight, and braking slightly later as well. And he's going to keep 6th place. He does. So brilliant braking from there from McCauley, not locking up and maintaining 6th place. And now Trace just looking behind these two, hoping to maybe sort of take advantage if these two make any contact, but having to settle for 8th at the moment as Ryan in the Ferrari running strong in 5th. The Ferrari seen as a car that's not particularly fast online, but Ryan deciding to go in it with Big Shot because of their love for the Ferrari. So he's running very strongly in 5th, and we'll see how well he performs throughout the season, because he had a very disappointing Season 6 due to all the disconnections that he had. And now Randy in 3rd place, looking right behind Matty now in the slipstream of the Williams. Will he look up the inside into Stowe? No, he won't. I don't think that would have been a very clever move. And slightly running onto the grass there, getting a better run than Matty now towards the last sector. Here we go, last few corners. Matty braking slightly later than Randy, managing to hold 2nd place. And I think that's crucial, because if these two start battling, then Noble's going to start to edge out that lead, which we saw all too much in Season 6.
I said it before and I'll say it again, the harder these two fight each other, the easier it's going to be for the cars around them to take advantage. Noble can drive away and MoNsTeR can catch up to the back in 4th place. A little bit of grass though on the exit of Abbey Corner as Noble sets the fastest lap, and Fisi, keep it on the track, son. He doesn't do that the same, forces his teammate wide. I'm not sure that partnership started very well, and it's not getting any better because Tracy gives a swipe in the rear. And going around the outside is P7. Now, if you're wondering about the name, that is actually Crookie driving that, but he's actually using a different gamer tag. We won't say it, obviously, for out of respect, but the fact that it's a little bit obscene. But it's a little bit no, unusual is the right word, not obscene. But yeah, you can see what it is. We're not going to actually say it out loud, but that is in fact Crookie driving, and that, of course, he's teamed up with MoNsTeR as they did back at Sauber last year. So up to P7. Now switching to lap 4, of course, DRS has now been activated, and looking in front, you can see Crookie's now challenging for P6. I can't exactly see who that is, but he's definitely caused some headaches.
That's McCauley.
It is, yeah, in the Mercedes. And Qualy getting very defensive, so you might be new to the F1 league, but he's certainly not going to give up this place much easier. There's now Crookie getting up the inside. I think he's going to have DRS as well, and he has got himself in front. So that's P6 then for the Toro Rosso. And of course, Toro Rosso's not running at the front like they were, because of course Noble and Matty have abdicated to the Williams this season.
They have, so the Toro Rosso team looking not as strong this season with their lineup, but they'll still be pushing on with Crookie, especially. He started last. In fact, if you had a look at the qualifying report, he didn't set a time, and he's already now up into 6th place. So Crookie's showing some really decent pace compared to the midfield runners. Let's see if he can get up to this front pack, as we're now on board with MoNsTeR in 4th place in the Toro Rosso, following Randy. So Toro Rosso's still got a pretty strong lineup with MoNsTeR and Crookie. MoNsTER especially, you know, he had a really good last half of the season especially. Couldn't get that victory though. He had enough second places for everyone really. I mean, he had about 9 or 10 second places, I'm pretty sure, and about 6 or 7 in a row, which was not great for him, but I'm sure he'll be pushing on very hard as Randy runs wide with a little bit of contact with another left rear wheel contact. But MoNsTER will be pushing on very hard to get that maiden victory in F1. It was stolen away from him in Australia, sorry, not Australia, America, due to the penalty that he received, but I'm sure that hasn't dampened his spirits for F1 2013.
And Randy had a great season last year. I think the only time, all the races that he actually finished, he didn't finish outside the top 10. And the other ones he either didn't attend or just didn't finish. The only time he didn't actually finish a race was back in Japan. No, I say that. Also, he disconnected in America as well. So, but the rest of the race he did run, he didn't finish outside the points. That shows real consistency, and that's the reason why he finished in 5th position. Of course, Ricky C was the man who finished ahead of him. Of course, he's not here today, but of course he's teaming up with him. So that's a really strong lineup for McLaren. 4th and 5th from the team standing, from the drivers standing last year. could be really key, and that could see McLaren right up there. MoNsTeR ran a little bit wide through Copse Corner into the sequence of Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. This fantastic high-speed sweeps, one of my favourite sequence of corners in the world. And now Randy will now have DRS on MoNsTER down the back straight. You see on the right-hand side there, tyre scaling has been reintroduced with F1 2013, so you can see the tyres are going to be wearing quite a lot. But for the moment, Randy diving up the inside of MoNsTER at Stowe Corner. It's a very daring pass if he can make it. Forces MoNsTER wide across the AstroTurf, a little bit wide on the exit as well from Randy. And our first pit is MoNsTER in the Toro Rosso. So those tyres are wearing off pretty quickly thanks to the tyre scaling.
Yeah, it's an added strategy element, the tyre scaling, as you can see at the end of lap 5. MoNsTER already diving into the pits for a fresh set of tyres. We'll see exactly how powerful the undercut is on this game with MoNsTER's pace in the next few laps, and we'll have to monitor that as Big Shot sets the fastest lap, but I think that is due to coming into the pit lane. We'll describe that in a minute, as Trace, I think, has just gone up the inside of Fisi Fan, his teammate. So these two have teamed up for this season, with MoNsTER now coming out of the pits in 13th place with quite a bit of fresh air, but with the cars ahead of him suffering from tyre wear. As you can see with Fisi, his tyres are pretty much shot already, especially that front left, taking a lot of pounding through this around this track, which makes sense. But yeah, as you can see, I think MoNsTER will catch up to the sort of 10th, 11th, 12th very quickly indeed with his fresh tyres, as Ryan losing the back end slightly, and here comes Crookie. But he hasn't got a great run out of that corner, actually, coming towards Copse Corner. Is Crookie going to have a look? He's getting a bit of a run now in the slipstream, but I think he's thought better of it, which is probably a good idea. Ryan in the Ferrari with it lacks straight line speed compared to some of the other cars, and it's probably 2-3 kilometres an hour slower than the Toro Rosso in a straight line, maybe a tiny bit more, I'm not too sure. But Ryan still, you know, he's on the back foot in terms of straight line speed.
Definitely hustling that Ferrari, doing a great job in P4, but he's about to lose it because here comes Crookie up the outside down the hangar straight with the aid of DRS, and for his troubles, Ryan gets a face for the sparks on that as well. As the first of Williams is in, that's Matty in, straight to Lee Mix once, and also Randy following him in as well. So, and also Ryan in too, so second, third, and fifth, and eighth in as well. So pit stops are coming about lap 6 then. And the hive of activity in the pit lane gets there. Look at these fantastic brand new pit cameras for F1 2013. Some of them are kind of point of view, some of them are kind of proper cameras like you'd see on the TV. Brilliant addition to them. And very quick pit stops also. Red Bull gets to work at a 3.1 second stop for Fisi. So it is a traffic jam in the pit lane. Matt is going to exit now back in P7, I think. Will he get out in front of Randy? Well, he will because he pitted. And there goes MoNsTER back down in P8. So effectively, MoNsTER's gained an undercut, in fact, on where he's remained ahead of Randy at least. And Fisi comes back out alongside Big Shot. Big Shot goes around the outside into Village and then through the loop. And then Matty's already on the back straight, and he has got DRS number 2 cars in front of him, battling away down towards Brooklands. And that is, I think, looking at that, that's possible. Is that one of the Saubers? I think it is, yeah. Past Jason 97, one of the new guys. And these new guys have really impressed so far, because of course these guys came up from the top 3 in the GP2 league, which is of course the direct league downwards from the F1 league. And so far, they've done a grand job so far, Matty. Yeah, and here we go. Matty looking at the inside of one of the new kids now. Jason is being tested through Copse Corner and managing to make it stick and up into 6th place. A crucial move from Matty there, because this lap is especially crucial because Noble's on those on the options that he started on, and so they're going to be completely worn at this stage of the race. And so Matty pushing on very hard as MoNsTER gets past Jason as well, who's struggling on his tyres. Noble diving into the pits now. Look at his front tyres. They are absolutely shot. So I'm sure Noble would not have gained, well, I'm pretty sure he would have lost quite a bit of time actually staying out 1 lap longer. We'll see. Matty now behind Commentated, so he's not exactly got fresh air to be pushing on as hard as he'd want to. As Noble comes into the pits now, gets a fresh set of option tyres. That's interesting, Scott, because with the 34% chance of rain, I think it was, Noble gambling on the fact that it might rain during this race. He's going on another set of options, and Matty, his teammate, on the primes. Well, you look at the skies overhead. It is still fairly dark, and it's getting darker by lap, so it wouldn't surprise if we do get a bit of rain, particularly near maybe somewhere around past the halfway point of the race. Look where Noble's come out, by the way, Scott, as well. He has. He's come out pretty much in a lot of track. He's actually right in front of Randy. So effectively, that does mean, if I'm right, he has lost track position to Matty, I think, because Matty's, in fact, he has, because Matty's cleared these two. Matty's cleared both MoNsTER and Constantins. So Noble's stuck in the middle of traffic. He's got Randy right on his gearbox as well. And that really hasn't worked out. He also lost the place to MoNsTER as well. And running wide is not going to help because Randy's gone through. And that was a problem because Randy was trying to get past Constantins. He's managed to do so, but Noble couldn't do the same. So into standard mix 2 and through Copse Corner was a bit of contact, I think, because Constantins gets shoved wide through Copse. And that's compromised the exit for Randy, so Noble will get DRS and head into the high-speed section flat through Maggots. at 185 miles an hour. That's an incredible sequence of corners. And on to the second DRS zone on the hanger straight. DRS will pop open. Randy's got it on MoNsTeR in front, so that'll at least help nullify the effect that Noble will have. And here's some replays. Talk us through it, Matty, because this is exactly what happened. And Randy's taking 2 cars in one move almost.
Yeah, Randy's keeping it tight on the apex, and Noble sort of straightening his car out. So right about here, you think, yeah, he's got this corner fine. And he straightened the car out a little bit too soon, and then had a tiny bit of oversteer potentially there, and he just completely just ran into the gravel and then lost a position to Randy. So not a great few laps for Noble. He stayed out 1 lap longer, and he's gone from 1st down to a net 4th place at the moment. So not great for him. He's gonna have a bit of work to do, but maybe he'll decide to do the undercut for the next stint. But he is on the option tyres, so technically he should be faster than the cars ahead, who I think are all on the prime tyres. So Noble thinking it's going to rain quite soon, potentially in this stint, or maybe the next one if he's going to go on to another set of options. We'll see when that comes around, but Noble taking a bit of a gamble, so maybe not feeling like he's got enough pace to really pull away from the front group.
Well, Noble, I know I was mentioning, I was reading out some of his tweets, and he was actually saying that he wasn't particularly too happy with the getting used to the handling and the physics for this year, of course, because they've changed a few things. As we're now watching Ryan trying to go up the outside of the Continents. Continents, remember, started, should have mentioned it in the qualifying report, that he actually did start on the prime tyres, so Continents running a bit longer than everyone else in that first stint. But so Noble said he was struggling a little bit trying to get used to the physics for this season, so I think he's almost started, but just about managing to master them a little bit. Now he's right on the rear of Randy for P3, but this should be pretty intriguing. As he can dive up the inside. Can he make it stick? No, Randy's got the line that he needs, and back behind Ryan, getting very frisky behind Continents at the moment. He's giving the big hurry up through Village and the Loop, and now we can see that Noble will have DRS. But I think because Randy's on the tail of MoNsTeR, I think that's going to nullify that again. So Randy's doing enough to keep Noble at bay, but I think at the moment he's more focused on trying to dispose of MoNsTeR. Speaking of disposing, there goes Ryan up the inside Continents for P6. Yeah,
I think we need to keep an eye out on 5th place as well. Crookie not that far behind this front group. We've got Matty getting away slightly with these guys battling, but I think Crookie only a couple of seconds maybe behind Noble, so Crookie's really put himself into the fight for at least a podium position here after starting at the back of the grid. So that could be really ominous for people, these 4 up front, if Crookie's got that much pace around Silverstone especially. But we'll have to see. We've got another 16 laps to go, so where can Crookie get himself? I'm not sure. He's actually almost on the back of Noble now, I think, looking at the mini-map. You can just about see the dot behind Noble, and here we go. Randy looking up the inside of MoNsTeR now into Stowe. There's been slight contact potentially. MoNsTeR running wide now. Noble's hit the rear end, and MoNsTeR going into the wall. Noble hitting MoNsTeR slightly, couldn't get out of it, and he's received a penalty as well, which I think he's going to have to deal with and take, because MoNsTER's lost his front wing, so he's completely out of the running now for any sort of podium. As you can see, just trundling back into the pits. So Noble making an uncharacteristic mistake. Obviously he couldn't really get out of it, but he was involved in a collision which we didn't see much in Season 6, did we, Scott?
Well, I fear that possibly Noble may have made himself an enemy before the season's even started, because I'm not sure MoNsTER will appreciate that too much. And Toro Rosso guys go to work, and they get themselves a brand new front wing, and that's now a 5.5 second stop, an unnecessary pit stop if you like. But now look at this, Randy under attack from MoNsTER's teammate, and there goes Crookie into P2. So amidst all of this, the big benefactor is ironically MoNsTER's teammate. He's gone from, what, 5th to 2nd in the space of a few corners. And here's a replay, let's have a look at it. So this is the initial move. Randy goes to move up the inside. MoNsTER closes the door almost, looks to turn in and misses the apex to force that. And there's the contact in the background. And that was purely a result, I think, of Noble trying to go for a gap that really was, he just understeered through the exit of Stowe Corner. And that just put, and because MoNsTER was wide and trying to come back across after he'd run wide through the middle of the corner. Here's MoNsTER's point of view. And there he is. He misses the apex completely. And bang, there's the contact from the Williams. And, well, yeah, there's the end result. And I think it's fair to say MoNsTER, not a happy bunny inside that cockpit.
No, it's disappointing for MoNsTER. Again, not really having much luck. It's carried over from F1 2012 to 2013. And unfortunately for him, he's out of the running with the front group at least. Maybe a little bit of rain might spice it up for him, but at the moment it looks dry as anything. So I think MoNsTER's going to just have to try and salvage some points. But again, it's the pre-season race, so he's just going to try and have to learn some things. Although he's going to be on a little bit of a different strategy to everybody else, having put on those fresh prime tyres. So we'll see how far he can get into the race with those tyres on. as we now cut to Trace in the Red Bull, it down in 9th place at the moment. Following, is that iProX Callum ahead of him? I think that is, unless he dives into the pits. It is Callum, who's in the Force India once again running wide. So, I think he missed his braking point by an absolute country mile there, and losing a position to Trace now. So Trace up into 8th behind Fisi, his teammate. So the two teammates of Red Bull seem like they're in quite similar pace. And as you can see now, we cut to lap 12, going through Maggotts and Beckett's, right behind Fisi now. So Trace showing some good pace and actually has +1 lap of fuel as well. So it looks like standard fuel mixture actually enables you to save some fuel on this game. Whereas in F1 2012, it seemed like standard made it run down slightly. As Trace now going up the inside into Stowe corner. Fisi having to yield and not really putting too much of a fight up to Trace. Although he's now back in the slipstream. Is he going to look up the inside? Yes, he is. So retaking the position, but he's missed his braking point and having to go wide again over the grass. And Trace surely now going to take 8th place. I think 7th now because someone dived into the pits. Unless I'm mistaken. Yep, that's right. I think it's Callum into the pits. So Trace up into 7th and looking like he's got a bit more pace than Fisi at this stage of the race.
Two Red Bulls duelling on track. Where have I seen this before? I'm getting deja vu, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. If anyone can tell me, put it in the comments below, of course. Moving forwards, and Matty now, of course, has the race lead by 1.2 seconds. And look at that, Crookie's actually on fantastic form at the moment, because he's closing down that Williams. And now here's, of course, Noble, and he's coming back in again on those option tyres, lap 14. So the alternate strategy running at 2 stints of option tyres. The rain hasn't arrived, so that may have compromised Noble's chance for victory as Fisi fan darts in to make his second pit stop. He was running exactly the same plan as Noble was. Williams boys go to work. Fantastic pit cams. Let's see the point of view from one of the wheel changes. This is the Jackman view from Red Bull. And 3.1 seconds for the boys from Milton Keynes. And he gets himself out of there. Now, where's Noble going to slot in here? I think he might lose a place to Jason at 97. Yes, he does. So the Force India makes his way through. And the Commentated is dueling, I think, behind with Schumacher. TRL Schumacher, not Michael, of course. But and Noble, this is actually his third stint on the options again. So he must be still expecting rain. I think obviously because a lot of drivers are, thanks to the tyre scaling, they're looking to all go possible a 3-stop strategy. So, but of course, if the rain comes in, of course, that's going to throw everything out the window because, of course, they'll have to go onto the inters or the wets, depending on how severe the rain shower is.
Yeah, Noble's committed to this strategy now. Otherwise, he's going to have to pit again for prime tyres. Whereas the rest of the front runners, if it doesn't rain again, will only have to pit once. So Noble trying for the faster strategy if it does rain with just constant option stints, but he can't seem to really make the most of them, to be honest. I don't think there is much of a difference between the options and primes in terms of actual race pace, but in terms of tyre wear, the options go off quite a lot quicker, I think. So Noble going for a strategy that he wasn't too sure about, I don't think, before the race, and he's kind of just reacted to the climatic conditions as Big Shot dives into the pits from 5th place. Trace carrying on. He's trying to go further on into the race to maybe see if there is going to be any rain coming down, as Fisi having a slight look at Callum. As you can see, Trace, Fisi's teammate, has just completely gone. So Fisi completely losing touch with his teammate at this stage of the race, and Fisi's actually got 2 laps of fuel, so he's been saving quite a bit throughout this race, whereas I think a lot of people are on optimal, maybe even -1. And so now he's going to try and maybe push on and get past Callum, who seems to be holding him up through this part of the race. And Trace, I'm hearing my ear, Trace has actually gone because Fisi has pitted. So this is the new set of prime tyres for Fisi. So that's probably why Trace isn't on our screens at the moment. So Fisi could well get the undercut and catch Trace as Callum goes slightly wide, losing the back end. And Fisi surely now is going to get past the Force India driver using the DRS and KERS as well. But Callum actually getting some good straight line speed at the moment, probably in fast and using all of his KERS, but Fisi still up the inside. Can he make it stick on those fresher tyres? No, Callum still hanging it round the outside. So Fisi having to work quite hard for this position. Can he get a better exit out of this right-hander? It looks like he has slightly. Callum weaving slightly with his back end, not looking particularly planted, but Callum's still holding on to 11th. About to come up to Cop's corner now. Will Fisi be able to get a better run? We won't know, as Matty, the leader, dives into the pits with Crookie just behind. So
battle of the leaders then, and it's going to be another set of prime tyres for Matty this time. And Randy's following him in, so top 3 in fact are coming in for tyres. And Ryan as well, so top 4 are all in. So Williams go to work, and so did Toro Rosso. Who's the faster pit crew? It's Williams, and that's Toro Rosso had to hold Crookie. There goes the McLaren, and Ferrari go to work on Ryan's car. And well, Ryan always did love horses, so he's finally driving one now. Moving
Look,
forward,
he's lost connection, Scott. It's Crookie. He's lost connection.
He has, yeah, and that was on the pit exit. So that's rather unusual. I don't think that's a rage quit because he didn't beat Matty at the pits. I don't think that was anything. But
I doubt it.
No, I doubt that. But he did have the pace, but he's disconnected. That's rather unfortunate. So looks like if you had both of the Sauber drivers from last year, the bad luck which they had at Sauber, mostly MoNsTeR, but it's been retained unfortunately. Now a replay of Fisi. He's now in the back of Callum making more mistakes, and now this time with the RS finally making that move stick. And that's a shame because at the time, that's how quick he was. He set the fastest lap of the race while Fisi made that move.
Yeah, I think just to clarify with the fastest laps round this track, it's not round any others I don't think, but the fastest lap, you can set a fastest lap when you're pitting. So Crookie setting a 28.8 was actually him diving into the pits and going over the finish line, because it's actually quicker to go into the pit lane and go over the finish line than it is go around the last few corners. So Crookie unfortunately not setting a 28.8 legitimately, otherwise I'm sure a lot of you will be sitting there thinking, oh my giddy aunt, how's he setting such an amazing pace? So that's the sort of explanation on that one. I think most drivers are in the 30s at the moment if they're not diving into the pits. As Trace getting slightly defensive against Randy, who he's not really racing because Trace has got another pit stop to go. Actually, no, he probably might be racing him if it does come down to with rain. But Trace really has no chance in defending against Randy on fresh tyres. Trace trying to eat this strategy out. I have heard that his strategy was pretty much perfect, but he's trying to now push it due to the fact that there might be rain coming, Scott.
One of the things I wanted to quickly mention, of course, for F1 2013 physics-wise, the fact that they have now tweaked it so it is much easier to get over there, but to correct it. So we are going to see quite a few people, of course, getting into full-on drifts or power slides a lot more. And that's a few spots of rain. I saw a few spots of rain, so the rain we're expecting is starting to fall. It's very light, of course. It's only starting to spit with rain as Schumacher comes in. No, he doesn't. In fact, I thought he was coming in. Apologies for that. But Fisi then up the inside into Vale, and now to the second part of Club, and that is now into P8. I can't see anyone else pitting at the moment, so stabilising, but it is starting to spit the rain now. So this is now going to be a new factor, of course, with the dynamic weather we've introduced. This is going to really throw a spanner into the works for all of these guys, because now the strategy is, how long is this rain going to last? Is it going to intensify? And to what level is the track going to be saturated? And of course, that's the big call. Do you go inters or do you go wets? And of course, you have to find the crossover point, because the dry tyres can work for a while, especially the option tyres, the softer compound tyre. Of course, softer compound means you get more grip on the slippery conditions, but they have to try and time it right. They have to use their instinct and to how the car feels on track before they make that crucial dive into the pits for the wet weather tyres. Yeah, it's
unknown territory, I think, for pretty much every single driver, because I don't think they've really experienced dynamic weather and the rain coming down, especially, well, we didn't really have any wet weather running in F1 2012, and now, you know, this is a completely new game, so they don't really know when to pit for intermediates, or in fact wets if it gets that wet. So these guys look like they've got enough grip at the moment, but MoNsTeR having to come into the pits because he pitted after that collision with Noble, meaning he has been forced into pitting now, which is completely, it just wouldn't work. It's not working for him at all, because he would have lost probably 3-4 seconds a lap had his tyres hit the cliff. But at the same time, he's losing a good 20 odd seconds coming to the pits now. He's putting inters on already, is MoNsTeR. And he's being held up by the Mercedes of Schumacher. So Schumacher coming out ahead of MoNsTeR, but MoNsTeR being forced into putting the intermediates on already, which you can see is not the right call at the moment, because the dry tyre runners are absolutely fine, as Fisi going up the inside of Constance, who's on the option tyre. So it looks like Constance was gambling on wet weather conditions as well, putting on the option tyres, and Fisi up into 7th now, looking like, yeah, he's getting quite good traction out the corners. So the dry tyre runner is absolutely fine at the moment, so it could be a few more laps until we're thinking of intermediates, as Ryan looking up the inside and now the outside of Trace, who is still struggling on those pretty worn prime tyres, but he's seen the rain and he's trying to eke out his strategy so he can put on the inters and not lose too much time. But look at the understeer he's got on this in his Red Bull, and now Big Shot on the back of him and about to go past him with DRS, and he's going to go down to 6th place, I'm sure, once we come out of Stowe, or even before, as we can see the Ferrari flying past, which is a rare occurrence because the Ferrari's so slow in a straight line. But Big Shot up into 5th, and Trace really struggling and now being forced into a pit stop as well. So similar to what MoNsTeR had, he has to pit. Look at his two front tyres, they are absolutely just gone to pieces. And it'll be interesting to see what tyres Trace goes on to. MoNsTeR went on to the intermediates, and Trace has gone on to the options. So
Well, it's not wet enough to warrant intermediate, so there's no point to go onto them just yet. There's not enough water on the track to warrant them, so there's no point in making the change to them. So that's quite a smart call, I think, from Tracy to make that one. But of course, the rain's starting to intensify, so maybe I'll take that back, because the track is probably going to get wet pretty quickly, I think, with this level of rain.
Yeah, I hope I'm going to be able to hear in my ear if Trace actually meant to go on the option tyres, because as he came into the pits, I saw the tyre menu come up. I'm not too sure if he wanted to go on to intermediates, and in fact the game put him on options, but hopefully I'll get some clarification on that. But anyway, moving to Noble now in the Williams, pitting now at the end of lap 21, and he's going on to the intermediates, and I can hear now that Trace did in fact want to go on to intermediates and was put onto options, so that's crucial for him, as now Noble hits his pit garage and puts on the intermediates, so he has pitted a lap earlier than the front runners of Randy and Matty, and so that could be interesting, Scott, if the rain intensifies towards the end of this lap.
It looks like it is. I can't believe just how quickly the rain started to... We've seen this before in F1, where you get this sudden burst of heavy rain, and it just saturates the track so quickly. So Fisi's out there on warm prime tyres. That's the worst possible tyre you could be on, because of course it's a harder compound tyre. If they're worn, add moisture to that, and it's terrible. Matty's having to suffer with that as well, but I'm pretty sure it's definitely wet enough for intermediates now, and indeed he does dive into the pits, and I'm pretty sure Randy will follow him in as well, and he does in fact select the intermediates. So now looking back, Noble on his intermediates, taking full advantage of the fact he's on the stronger tyre, up the outside of Big Shot down towards Stowe Corner, and just playing drive straight round the outside of him. I saw the Force India garage ready as well, just behind Matty as he leaves his box on a fresh set of intermediates.
And he's carried on.
He has carried on. And he's still on those prime tyres. And Ryan now goes on to the intermediates as well, and Fisi will go on to them too. So into the right corner, but if it carries on raining, do we think anyone's possibly going to warrant going on to the wet spot at all, Matty? Because the rain's not easing up, it's getting heavier.
Yeah, the rain is coming down at a right rate of knots, so Randy risking it and staying on the dry tyres. I don't know if he's just trying to gather information as it is the pre-season race, but we're on board with him now, and you can see he's just struggling. He's 3.9 seconds down on his last lap in the first sector alone, and Matty already on the back of Randy pretty much. Randy struggling for traction in every single corner and just sliding everywhere. Matty now using all of his curves. Is he going to try and get the inside of Randy already? You can see Noble 6.7 seconds back, but he's going up the inside into Copse, so he's dispatched of Randy as quickly as possible, because he could see the McLaren driver just struggling on these prime tyres. I think it was a silly decision for him to stay out, but again, it's not an actual league race. He's just trying to work out exactly how far the dry tyres can go before he has to switch to intermediates. But Scott, really, these conditions look almost wet tyres, not even intermediates.
But I think, because we're near the end of the race, some of these guys might risk it and just go on the intermediates anyway, but they're going to have to really scrabble for traction in these moist conditions, as Callum went a little bit wide on the exit of Copse Corner. But Fisi up to P5 through the pit stops, and Randy, you can hear the wheels spinning up on that McLaren. He's struggling for grip, and finally makes it into the pit. He's actually on -1 lap of fuel, so he's now got it on still standard. Hasn't even changed his fuel mix yet, and Noble will now take over second. So it's kind of almost a repeat of what we saw from last year. It's Noble and Matty at the front, with Matty taking the lead at the moment. McLaren boys do go to work. I maybe would have thought he could have possibly switched onto the wet tyres and gained a bit of an advantage, but we'll have to wait and see how it plays out, because the intermediate boys, even though the rain is still coming down at quite an intense rate, they're still seeming pretty comfortable on the intermediate tyre. Callum up to P6, thankfully, through the stops. So good running by him and the Force India boys in terms of strategy. So this is crucial. A few guys who we didn't normally expect to see near the front have taken advantage of the weather situation, and they've moved up a couple of spots. And the guys like MoNsTeR, P11, well, his offense gone from bad to worse. He's actually coming in, so is he going to risk the wet tyres? We'll wait and see. Does he? Yes, he does. So wet tyres for MoNsTeR. Is this going to be a key decision with 3 laps left?
Yeah, I think MoNsTeR really just has to make some sort of gamble, because I think staying out on the inters means that he'd pretty much finish 11th. So he's putting on the wet tyres to see if he can maybe gain more of an advantage than losing 20-odd seconds in the pits. So he's really going to have to be praying that the absolute thunderstorms come in over this Silverstone circuit, and we'll see where MoNsTeR can get in these last few laps. But it definitely looks like it is coming down quite a lot. You can see puddles everywhere now, so MoNsTER's probably going to be in a good position, but he is so far behind, so it really depends on how the inters work. And it's interesting to hear from the drivers, but when it is intermediate conditions, the car is really easy to handle, I've been hearing, but as soon as it gets between that window between intermediates and wets, the inters just stop working. As you can see, Fisi completely sliding pretty much through Cop's corner. But it's only one lap to go, so they're going to have to stay out unless someone really thinks. As Matty, the race leader, going over the penultimate corner, he couldn't stop the car. And the intermediate runner, Scott, completely struggling.
But there's no time, there's no point going to the wet tyre shed because there's not enough time, it doesn't warrant it. So they're going to have to go out there and they're going to have to just suck it up and take it. As now, Fisi fan is under attack from Big Shot at the moment. And he's got wide, in fact, through Cop's Stowe corner, so that's just how much grip there isn't out there. Puddles everywhere, and there's so much standing water. The Inters just cannot clear it quick enough. Fisi locking up. And look at this on the final lap of the race. Ryan's in P3, but Randy's right on his gearbox. This could be a change. Randy goes wide on the wet grass and thankfully keeps it pointing in the straight line. And Randy's diving up the inside into the complex. Contact between the two of them. Bit of tyre rubbing. Ryan forcing his way back up the inside and holding him a line. Going a little too deep, running wide. And Randy gets the better traction. Now he's got enough. And look at Traceby. He's now going to get past the constants. So much going on. Oh, Ryan struggling for rear grip on his tyres. This is an incredible finish. It's only the pre-season race and we're already getting quite worked up. This is fantastic. It's
brilliant. Dynamic weather throwing another spanner in the works to this brilliant game with tyre scaling. So it's going to be a really fascinating season. As you can see, Trace completely not getting any traction at all. Forget wet tyres. You need a boat in these conditions. It's ridiculous. Look at the spray that Ryan's having to follow with Randy. Looks like Randy is going to get the final podium position as Trace now coming under pressure from Jason. Jason's on the wet tyres, you can see, and Trace completely just running wide and sliding. And look at that. Who's that? It's Contrubuted going up the inside as well, around the outside even. And now, who's that MoNsTeR on the wet tyres? Look at the amount of grip he has compared. He's almost turned in too early. He's got so much grip. And so he could actually find himself in about 8th or 7th position if there's a few drivers struggling. As you can see, Trace just not getting any traction out of these corners and no straight line speed. And MoNsTeR flying up the inside at Cops. And he might well get another position as Matty comes over the line to win the pre-season race at F1 2013. And Noble, his teammate, coming home in second. A very ominous result for the rest of the field, Scott. And MoNsTeR just about, man, he's going around the outside of Contrubuted now, so it was a good call from MoNsTeR.
It was indeed. It's just Noble kind of drifting to the final couple of the corners. And look at that. Constantine's wide up on the grass, and there goes Traceby. As Fisi's now going to come home in P5, is he? If he can get it turned in. No, he doesn't. He goes wide up at the first part of Club. And they're struggling out there. There's too much water. Oh, Fisi, he's so close to the line, but Jason might get him before the line. It's going to be so close. Cross the line. Oh, he lost it on the line. Oh, Fisi he lost P6 as Traceby goes off into the gravel. They're off everywhere. This is an incredible finish to the race. And Traceby, he's revving the life out of that Renault engine. And there goes Contrubuted, and there goes also Pro Callum as well. This is an incredible finish. And all thanks to the weather. And the effect was that the wet tyres and then a spinner. Well. What on earth is going on?
Unbelievable finish there, Scott. That was probably the most exciting finish we've seen for a long time. Just purely because of seeing every single driver just struggling. Look at that. Look at the turn-in that Randy has. Just nothing but more turn-in than Ryan, who just couldn't stop the car ferrying out. Just going wide. So Ryan, unfortunately, losing that podium position, but a brilliant result for him in 4th. And here's a replay of Trace losing a position to Jason and Contrubuted. And now a replay of Ryan coming around the last few corners that go around Stowe, but just couldn't go around Stowe and had to settle for going into the gravel. But fortunately for him, Fisi was so far behind that he could still come home in 4th. And there's TRL Schumacher looking like he's on the wet tyres. Look at the amount of grip he has. So he managing to make a few places up as well, Schumacher. And Fisi just about coming over the line. But then losing a position.
He did very much. And like I said, that's pretty ominous. And that's only the pre-season race. If that's what we've got in store with the dynamic weather, I say bring on the rest of the season, because this could be possibly one of, if not the best and hotly anticipated seasons. Take it to the results, because what a way to kick off season 7. We haven't even started the first race yet.
Yeah, what a brilliant pre-season race. So xMattyG taking the victory by 16.2 seconds after Noble getting that 10-second penalty with the collision with MoNsTeR, with Randy rounding up the podium positions in 3rd. Just a slight bit behind Noble, so he could have easily nabbed 2nd had Noble had a more difficult last lap. Ryan finishing in a very strong 4th place in the Ferrari, with Jason, the new boy, in 5th place. So he'll take that result, I am sure. 5th place, brilliant from him. Fisi fan finishing in 6th, with TRL MoNsTeR after that collision with Noble finishing down in 7th, but a good call from him using the wet tyres with a few laps to go. He was in 12th when he pitted, so great result for him for the last few laps. TRL Schumacher in 8th, another of the new boys, with the Contadins taking trace for 9th and 10th. TRL Qualy, another new boy, missing out on the top 10 in 11th, with HyperX Callum just behind him in 12th. Crookie not finishing, unfortunately, after disconnecting, and Maisie CZ also not finishing. Big Shot Player did actually come home in 5th place, but he got disqualified due to going down the pit lane on the last lap and gaining 2 positions. Otherwise, I think he would have finished 7th. And Ricky C not starting, unfortunately, so we didn't get to see his pace. But Scott, what do you think that the Season 7 holds for us?
I think, as I said, probably one of the best seasons, not the best season the ARL F1 League has ever seen, I think, because with all this dynamic weather, the tyre scaling in there as well, different driver and team combinations, Jason also Schumacher and McCoy look pretty strong as well. There's the first race, Australian Grand Prix. I am so pumped for that. If that race hasn't got you excited for the first race of the season in Australia, then you need to stop watching, because you're watching the wrong league. There's something possibly wrong with you. So I can't wait, and I'm pretty sure you can't either, Matty.
I can't, and I'm sure everyone watching can't wait as well. It's only going to be next week, so you only have to wait 1 week for the start of the Season 7 Championship around the Australian Grand Prix, Melbourne. I hope you guys will join me. Thank you very much, Scott, for commentating with me today.
Not a problem. That's got me pumped for the season. Let's kick it off. I'll see you guys in Melbourne.
Thank you very much for watching, guys. I've been Matthew Gallagher, and we'll see you next week for the Australian Grand Prix. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.